just become their sovereign plaything then? If we just become the government that they need to exercise in order to get the laws that they want, like how much of a position are we in to say no if they're the ones that are paying all the bills? Because this week we saw that corporate tax revenues for November were 10 billion euro alone, which for context, it's as much as we used to get in a year a decade ago. You'd get 10 billion corporate tax in a year. Now you're getting it in 1 month, albeit an unusual month, but nonetheless, it's still a gargantuan amount of money. But the Department of Finance is also now joining the chorus of other critics who say, actually, maybe we're a bit too reliant on this. That yesterday, alongside the Exchequer returns, they published a document saying that now 90% of all tax revenue is coming from income tax, from VAT, and from corporates. And specifically on corporates, the biggest 10 taxpayers pay 57% of all corporate tax revenue. And at a time when there's still a guy in the White House who isn't as vocal this week or this month, but is still talking about trying to bring back American intellectual property and American jobs all the time, it poses a real risk. But it does also highlight, when you talk about infrastructure, does it mean that maybe the infrastructural needs of those big companies might somehow end up competing with the infrastructural needs for the rest of us?
First of all, is our best hope for our economy that Apple keeps on selling bazillions of iPhones and we keep on printing money for like just ad nauseum forever, and we're all happy to do this?
It kind of is a little bit.
I mean, that's kind of the model.
We're on the pig's back because Manjaro gets manufactured in Cork, and that's suddenly then boosting GDP. You're kind of hoping that the next miracle thing that comes along also gets manufactured in Ireland, or else we just get phased into oblivion.
But the problem is, I think, when you look at this from the outside, and there's no suggestion of anything untoward here, but the level of lobbying that we've seen from the big tech companies at a European level and an Irish level has ratcheted up, or there's been more focus on that. For example, Meta ratcheted up its lobbying campaign in recent months, as reported by the Irish Times back in October, a letter to Jim O'Callaghan looking for Ireland to push back against data protection laws, to loosen them out at a European level and to get in touch with other countries that might have a similar viewpoint to ours. So obviously Meta has been fined multiple times to our own Commission Demand, to the Data Protection Commissioner, or one or other of those. So Ireland has a big role in this, and if we are seen from the outside looking in as being completely dependent on these companies to survive, to thrive.
Because we kind of just become their sovereign plaything then. If we just become the government that they need to exercise in order to get the laws that they want, like how much of a position are we in to say no if they're the ones that are paying all the bills? Like it makes us appear, for better or worse, that we're completely in hock to a very small number of people, and that if their corporate interests decide what is best for the country, that the government just has no option but to.
It leaves us incredibly vulnerable.
Yeah.